All right, so we got the truck down at the body shop, and we went ahead and pulled the rear bumper, tailgate, and all that to get everything we got to do underneath the bed.
Pulled the bed bolts off.
Yeah.
Probably the easiest bed bolts I've ever took off on these trucks.
Yeah, and just look how perfect them are. Those are probably the best bed bolt holes I've seen.
Which they've been off before, or the previous owner took it off when he done the spring hanger drop. So,
but I mean,
they work.
Every one of them is perfect. So,
yes, we're about to get this bed off, and we got a pile of parts we're gonna be putting underneath it. We got a gas tank we're gonna swap out, sending unit.
Some bump stops.
Yeah, we're putting shorter bump stops on it here. It's got the big factory bump stops, which are about
they hang
three and a
down
half, 4 inches. These are maybe an inch.
So
sending unit. We got rear brake wheel cylinders we're gonna be putting on, which you don't have to pull the bed for that, but
it's gonna be a lot easier.
The bed's gonna be off anyway. We're just gonna put them on then. And so
that's really about it.
We're gonna paint the frame. So
yeah,
pull all the wheels off, paint the frame on this thing, and
so
go from there.
Pull this bed off, and yeah. Pick up. All right, you're off. There she is. A little dusty, but easy as that.
Just like that, bed's off. Probably sit out here a couple nights, and then hopefully this thing's back on in a day or so. So while we got this bed off, what we said earlier, we'll be putting a gas tank under it. Reason why, we really don't know, but when we fill this thing up, the one time we filled it up full, it was leaking for some reason. I don't know why, so as cheap as those tanks are, just gonna buy one, put on it. Just hopefully solve all the issues.
Hopefully.
We're gonna put a new sending unit on it and change the hoses out to the tank right there, the rubber lines.
Yeah.
And we said change the bump stops out. You can see how long those are.
Yeah, how far they hang down.
And yes, it is close right there, but
yeah, it'll be all right.
Yeah, it'll work. And also, we got to swap a U-bolt because we noticed when we
this outside
when we lowered, well, put the leaf spring on up there, one of the U-bolts were stripped out a little bit in one spot. I guess where the nut had sat there so long and rubbed. So we're going to change one of them out. And I wish I knew we were going to pull the bed off when we lowered it.
That would have made life a lot easier.
Yeah.
Didn't plan on
pulling the bed off at that time. So, oh well, it is what it is.
Here we are. So, but I mean, overall, this frame is really nice. Just dusty and dirty. But
big reason for that is because of how those mufflers are dumped. They're pointed straight at the ground, and it's going to blow every bit of dust up. I mean, it hadn't rained here in 2 weeks. Everything's dusty.
Yeah, it was bad pulling it in here this evening.
So, yeah, it's just covered everything in dust. So we're going to pull this tank off, hopefully find the problem and why it's leaking, and
start prepping this thing to paint.
Prep the frame and then paint it and then put the new tank back in. That way everything's clean. Probably going to end up buffing the back of this cab too while the bed's off.
And the front of the bed.
Yeah, and the front of the bed. As you can see, at some point this thing had some steps on it, a little lot.
Yeah, which is not surprising.
Yeah, because if they were on there, they'd been took off now, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got a lot to do. We'll get to it. Hopefully get this thing washed tonight. Come in tomorrow, get this frame prepped and painted, and then
start going back together.
Yeah, start going back together with it.
All right, so we just got the gas tank out, and I mean, this thing is pretty dirty. That's not really what I was expecting, but we mentioned earlier we had a leak, and it looks like it's just running out from this O-ring back here, just going down the side. So we think that was our problem. But you could probably just go ahead and put a new sending unit and all that in it and fix the problem. But while we're here, we're gonna go ahead and put the new tank in it, clean these straps and the cover up and all that.
I mean, underneath everything's clean.
Yeah.
This truck has been a southern truck its whole life.
Yeah.
It's been in Alabama, it's where it's bought new, and now it's made it Tennessee, so it's just been in those two states.
But the frame will turn out a whole lot better with the painting it with that out and all that.
Yeah,
so.
you can get a whole lot better coverage on that. Like a couple videos ago, the blue truck we done, it was actually a dual tank, so you couldn't get up behind all that.
Yeah, and you had a lot more junk back here behind the cab too for switching the tanks over and all your electronics and all that. It being 87 fuel injected, it had a lot more stuff.
Yeah, than this one does.
But I mean,
this still is a super clean truck.
oh yeah,
solid. Everything, which, like you said, we could probably use this gas tank. It'd probably go in another one for messing with.
yeah, but
we'll swap that
yeah,
sending unit out and stuff.
but we are going to go ahead and clean the straps and the protecting plate,
yeah,
skid plate, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
So it wasn't bad taking it out either. I was actually taking these hoses out right here, and then they just decided they wanted to come off the truck by themselves, so I'm not complaining.
Yep.
But yeah,
I guess we're gonna get this thing on jack stands and start spraying this frame off, and then come back in the morning and start painting it. So we'll get these wheels off, get it lifted up, and go from there.
alright, so we just got the frame washed off, and I think this thing cleaned up pretty well. I mean, the rear end, a lot of the times you'll see a bunch of caked on grease. This one wasn't like that. It was really clean. The frame was really clean and all that. It does have undercoating on the side, which I don't know about. I don't know if we're gonna do anything with that or not, but
yeah, it may scrape it off, may not, I don't know yet.
we still have a few odd and end things we need to do before we paint it, like pull the shocks off, do a little taping here and there, tape the cab up, keep overspray off. But I think that's gonna wrap this up for tonight. So we're back. We got everything we needed to get done with the bed off here. So that's the frame painted. We got the new bump stops on, and if you can see them there,
they're probably 3 to 4 inches shorter than the other ones, so it gives us that much more travel in this. So
which
we don't.
Yeah, which before
the object of this is for the frame to not hit the axle.
Really? Well, yeah. Before they were actually, the axle was actually resting on the old bump stops, so this will give us a little more travel, a little bit better ride. Something else, we got the gas tank in, new sending unit and all that. Painted the straps and the cover.
Yeah, done all that.
So it all looks good and new. Buffed the back of this cab here that's going to be covered by the bed. And man, let me tell you, the metallic in this brown is just wild.
This thing come out a whole lot better than I thought it would.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's so much more metallic in this brown than I thought there was.
This thing's got perfect patina on it.
Yeah.
Or just,
it'd look a lot better if the rest of the truck was like that.
yeah.
But
this is one of them to where I don't care to buff it. It's just,
oh yeah, it's gonna help the truck more than anything, buffing it.
So we got that done. Also buffed the back of the bed for when we set it on there. You won't be able to get to all this with the bed on the cab or with the bed on the frame.
Yeah.
You won't be able to get to all that.
But bed's ready to go back on.
We're about to set it back on, get that done, and get everything tight, get it back to the shop, and
probably start on the interior.
Start interior and start buffing the rest of the truck from there. And so we're gonna get with that.
Alright, so we got this thing back down at the other shop. Started taking a few odd and end pieces off, mirrors, side marker lights, hood emblem, taillight lenses, wheel opening moldings, which actually this truck looks kind of weird without the wheel opening moldings. Looks like a Scottsdale or something.
Yeah, or
custom looks. It looks more base model. But anyways, yeah, we pulled all this stuff off, getting ready to lay the buffer to this thing.
Yep. I mean, I've really been excited to buff this thing ever since we've hit these few spots, especially the back of the cab. Once we've done that, you just seen. And yeah, I mean, this one I think is going to come out really good.
It's going to help the truck a lot.
Oh yeah,
it'll change the truck. This
is the last major step though on this truck, other than the interior. So I think buffing it will really help the overall look of it, and I mean, I think it's going to turn out nice. And so what we're going to be doing first is hitting it with this wool pad over here. It's for kind of a heavy cut compound just to bring all this back, and that's really what brings most of this shine back is the heavy cut compound, and then everything from then on really just cleans it up because it leaves a lot of swirls
and micro scratches and stuff like that.
You go back over the foam pad, and then we've got 2 more steps after that. So it's a 4-step process.
2 with a buffer, 2 by hand.
2 with a buffer, 2 by hand. And I mean, from our experience doing it like this, we've had really good results out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've buffed, I don't know how many black vehicles. Tons of black vehicles that done the same process on. Well, this black truck behind us done it the same way. And it's, I mean, it's got a lot of dings here and there in it, but the paint was terrible on that truck. I've hit it with a buffer like that, and it brought it back.
And we used the same 4-step process on stuff that looks like that. And really shiny stuff. Actually, the same process on the cat eye right over there.
Yeah,
I mean, same exact steps.
Yep. So we're gonna be doing that, and I mean, we don't use an orbital. I'm
for
not even gonna start.
Various reasons.
I'm not even gonna get into that.
Sorry for all you orbital fanboys out there, but not here.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna start buffing it, and we'll get about half the hood done, and we'll check back in.
And just really show you the difference.
I'll show you really the difference made. Well, first off, what we got to do is get these screws out of here. I forgot about these, really.
It was back in the 80s.
So yeah, back in the 80s, at some point, this truck had a
It was decked out, son.
spoiler on the front, and then a
The little duck bill turn up thing on the back.
front and the rear roof spoiler on it. Somebody screwed it through the cab there, and if a buffer gets a hold of that, it will
eat the pad.
Yeah, it'll tear the pad up, and you don't want to do that. And so I'm gonna take and zip these out.
Tape a few stuff up, a couple of chrome pieces.
We'll run some tape around these emblems, and then
Probably the drip rails.
I'm going to the windshield, even though we're replacing it. I'm still going to run a piece of tape around it, and that just kind of makes it easier on the cleanup end of the buffing residue. You know, because if you leave the compound dust on there for a while, a couple days after, it's hard to get off. I mean,
yeah, and it kind of almost eats its way back into the paint.
Especially something this old. I mean, something newer, you can get away with it. But a couple days, you know, and wipe it off. But this right here, you got to get it off pretty quick, or it won't come out. So, or it's hard to get it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get some stuff taped up and get this wool pad started up, and then we'll check back in about halfway through the hood. Just finished with this after the hood here, and it's
a pretty big difference.
Yeah, it's a really good difference. I mean, it is taking a little longer than I expected it to, but this tan is like, I mean,
it just soaks everything in.
Yeah, it's like really chalky. Like, if you ever buffed white the same way, you know, white's really hard to buff. Well, you can't see white most of the time. It's the same way. You can't hardly see this stuff, and you got to get it right in the light to tell where you've left some, or if you missed a spot here and there. And so it's took me a couple times going back over it, which leads me to, I might change the buffers out. We have another Milwaukee buffer, so it is a cordage buffer.
It's older than both of us.
Yeah, it is older than both of us.
But it does a dang good job.
It's a lot heavier of a buffer. That buffer, it does good and all, but I mean, I've already wore 2 batteries out on just this side of the hood.
Yeah, this is really a little heavy of a cut for that buffer.
Yeah, that is more of a foam pad buffer. It does a whole lot better with a foam pad than it does like a heavy cut like this. So I think I'm gonna swap buffers out, go to the bigger buffer. It's heavier.
Spins faster.
It does spin a little faster, which
you gotta be a little more careful.
The paint is really thin on this, and I didn't burn through here. This is just when I buffed over it, kind of
come off.
Kind of come off like
but it don't look bad.
No, I like it. when you hit that edge just a little bit. It was showing through more on this side than it was this one here. And I don't know if we mentioned it or not, this is original paint on this whole truck. So it's never been painted on, never been messed with. And you can tell by the pad here, if you notice, the pad is tan. Like we buffed the brown. This is where I hit the brown the other day with this little pad. It does come off with the pad, and no, it does not mean you're burning through it. It's just, that's how this cuts.
That's just how single stage
acrylic enamel paint cuts. Compared to, you buff a base clear, if you're taking paint off base clear, you've burnt through it. If you're taking paint off of this, that's just how it buffs.
You're just really taking the top layer off and shining what's underneath. So
yeah, so by the time we get done, that whole pad's it's gonna be tan and brown.
No, caked up too, probably.
And it's caked up. You need to. I'm about to wash it out, just clean it up, because that tends to scratch it a little more if you leave it caked up like that.
You're kind of going backwards in a sense, but
yeah. So I think we're gonna swap buffers. We'll get the bigger one out, because this stuff it's pretty hard to cut. It's gonna take a little longer than I anticipated. So
which it's 85, so that's 37 years. Probably, it seems like it's never had a coat of wax put on it.
Yeah, I don't think it's had much of nothing put on it. So
yeah, so it's due. It's time for something.
Yeah, it's needing something on it. And so yeah, we're gonna get everything swapped out and get this time lapse set back up and hit the rest of this hood.
Are you gonna buff the rust off of it?
I wish I could. You can really see kind of the old dealer emblem on it right here. You know, that's still old too. I don't know, but
Oh yeah, you can really see it after you buffed it there.
I didn't even notice it at first there until we started looking at this tailgate. And then what I actually think happened here, though, the badge underneath this one was the original dealer, and I think they changed hands to this one. So
Yeah, and they just put their decal.
I'm gonna say that one's still, though, early 90s.
Yeah, probably something like that.
But I don't know what the black one on here. I don't know.
I'm assuming that's gonna be the original one there.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll get the rest of this buffed out. This is actually the last piece of compound, and so get this done, we'll have the whole truck compounded. So
Which took a little bit longer than we thought.
Shoot, 12 hours or so in on it.
Yeah, it was. That's hand painted on there. We buffing it off.
Think so?
Yeah. All I know is it's less white now.
And just like that, this thing's compounded.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it took me longer than I expected. After, doing our sample whatever piece right
Yeah.
here on the bed, I thought it'd be fairly quick. It wasn't. This is probably the longest one that's took me to buff
Yeah.
like this. And the tan, especially the hood and the roof, the tan was pretty hard to
Yeah.
get out. I had to make some places 4 or 5 passes over just to pull it all out. And I think it looks really good.
Yeah, it
it
definitely helped the truck.
The roof was very thin, and so when I buffed over it a couple passes, it did pull part of the tan back off.
But if you notice, it's actually brown underneath the tan. So
Focus.
yeah, it ain't wanting to focus, but so no big deal. Just a little more character.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out how this truck faded like it did. Why this is more of a light brown. This is a dark blackish looking brown. And what we've come to decide, I think they based the cab of this truck and the doors, they based it with a metallic brown first and then sprayed the tan on top of it. As the fenders, they just sprayed them tan and then sprayed the brown on top of it.
Which really makes sense because there's a whole lot less brown on the fenders, and it saves time, material,
Yeah, the bed, I think the bed's done the same way.
Yeah.
As you can see right here.
Which you would think it'd be done opposite because most of it's brown, but
I think the bed was sprayed brown, and then the entire thing was sprayed tan, and then the brown was sprayed back on top of that tan.
probably.
Because you can see the brown through that.
It is bleeding through a little bit there. Or they may just spray the whole thing brown, the bed side's tan, and then
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not for sure
yeah,
on
but
that. This is just all of us. It's just guessing.
Yeah.
I know on the cab though, because the
Yeah.
cab wouldn't be done like this.
but it's almost like glass. You can really tell it on the brown. The tan, it's just one of them colors you're not going to really
It pretty
get
much just knocked the dullness off the tan. Other than
Yeah.
that, it
Now it shines like the brown, but it's just one of them colors that don't look shiny. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you mean.
But I mean,
It's got a gloss to it. You can tell it does, but it does not.
it don't pop
It
like
don't
that
have a
brown.
metallic in it. And it's not a dark color. The brown
Yeah.
will show more. So got that done. Like we said, we went to the bigger buffer, like a heavier buffer, and that thing, it cut it a whole lot better. So,
Yeah, it definitely sped the process up.
Yeah. Tailgate come out nice. Everything it has so far. So next we're going to hit it with a foam pad. Probably going to switch back to this buffer because this thing is set up more for a foam pad. It don't take as much pressure. You don't have to hit it as hard.
Not near as heavy of a cut.
Yeah, and like we said earlier before we started buffing with the compound, this is really as shiny as this truck's going to look. Everything from here on is just going to take the swirls out of it and just protect it really from that.
Yeah.
So, like you pull this outside like we did earlier, It's got swirls in it, and that's just what it is when you.
That's just how
when
it
you
is
buff
with
it
the wool
compound.
pad.
The wool pad leaves swirls, and that's the purpose of the foam pad, to take it out, and then anything past that just helps it even more. So we'll probably show a few clips of the foam pad. I'm not going to time lapse the whole thing because it's the same point. You won't be able to visibly tell we're doing anything with it. And so we're going to get set up and do a little spot on the hood and then get the rest of this thing done. Alright, so we've started with our foam pad or polish. We're using a 3M polish on it.
There's not going to be very much change.
Yeah, that's what, like, really there's not going to be much change in the look of it. It already has the look from what the compound gave it. This just pretty much cleans that up, cleans the swirls out of it, and
It'll shine it up a little bit more.
just a little bit more, yeah.
But
I mean, other than that, it goes on the same way as compound would. You know, put your material on, and then just buff it in. It's pretty much just like that. And I mean, it's not really a complicated process. It's just
time consuming.
time consuming. I mean, it's work, and you got to go over the whole thing again.
Yeah, but it's not near as bad as that
No,
wool pad.
this ain't as bad as the wool pad. It goes by a lot quicker.
A lot softer of a.
Yeah, it don't cut as
Yeah.
hard. It just like cleans the top of the surface off. So not going to time lapse any of this because
Same thing.
pretty straightforward.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
you ain't going to be able to tell the difference in it other than when it gets outside. So we're going to finish this out tonight. Do our last two steps probably tomorrow, and then body will pretty much be done.
Mhm.
So
Check that off the list.
yeah, check it off list. Tailgate is done, just done it. With the foam pad, it
Yeah.
don't have all 4 steps done to it. So we'll get this done. We'll be back tomorrow with start rubbing it by hand then. So we'll see then.
Alright, so we just got step 3 done, which was the hand rub here.
Yeah, it's 3M product too. It's just hand glaze. Pretty much what you do, you just put it on an applicator pad, rub it in, and then
Yeah.
wipe it off with a microfiber towel. And so
And that just takes more swirls
yeah,
out.
it's just another layer to remove the swirls if there's any left. So we just got done with that. And the more you do to it, the better it looks. So, just like you said, just got that done. About to put all the lights and stuff back on it, mirrors,
Hood emblem.
hood emblem. Gonna get all that on there and then ceramic coat it because that stuff goes on everything. You know, it can go on glass, the paint, lights, everything on there. So we're just gonna wait till we get it all back together. And rear bumper, they'll put it
Yeah.
on too. Also about to swap the windshield out at some point. It's got like some fog on it. It won't come off, so it's just like
Yeah.
made inside the glass. So
And after that,
yeah,
interior.
after that, it's all left up to the interior. So and we'll open those ones. Forgot
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, we gotta put them back on.
Got them. It is what it is when you wait till the last minute to do this.
Yeah.
So I thought we actually done better on this one. We started it like 3 weeks before.
Yeah, instead of the week of, and it is the 3rd, and we're leaving out the 7th, so 4
We
days.
got plenty of time.
Plenty of time. So,
Anyway, we're gonna get this stuff back on it, get the bumper on it, tailgate, all this other stuff, and hopefully it looks like a truck again from the outside. Then we'll put the ceramic coating on it, and then the body just be about done. So we'll get the interior after that and keep going.